Welcome to Rewatch-and-Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. Today's episode is Bleach, the Bound Arc, episode 78, Shocking Revelations for the Gotai 13, The Truth Buried in History. Episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happened in this episode. So, episode begins with everybody back at Urahara's shop. Yoshino and Ishida are being treated, and they have a brief conversation about their pride as a Bount and as a Quincy, which ultimately at the end of the episode leads to Yoshino leaving, where it is noted by Urahara and Yoruichi that they don't believe she'll survive the next fight, but that's for another episode. Then we have the Gotai 13, where we see many of the captains gathered around in the technological department or technology department, where they are informed that the data has been retrieved, and it shows that the Bount typically, whenever they're planning to do something big, that previously, like anything that's larger than their usual plans, they start feeding on living people. Otherwise, they just live off the dead. And that there was a past battle between the Quincy and the Bount, where the Bount were targeting the Quincy, much like Ishida's been targeted in this case, meaning that there's obviously something about the Quincy that the Bount need in order to enact large plans, just like they need to gather extra energy by feeding on the living instead of dead souls. So that's all revealed, and then Ichigo, because of his absolute devastating loss by Jin, that was just like he was literally just flicked in the forehead and like thrown away and nearly died from it. Ichigo's developed a bit of fear, and even as he's being relayed all of this information, he's like trying to take a more cautious route, and that's not really him because he's usually more hot-headed. It gets to the point where Ganju comes from the convenience store to basically take him to Urahara's underground training area to force a spar between him and Renji and Ganju, like a three-way spar, which ultimately turns into a two-way spar when Ganju is called by Hanataru, who's also at the convenience store, because they got a little bit busy and they got a customer rush, so Ganju basically pieces out to go help at the convenience store, leaving Renji and Ichigo to continue the duel, and by the end of the episode, Ichigo has managed to overcome the duel and overcome his fear and is now ready to basically fight round two. And that's what happened in this episode. So now that we've been reminded about what happened in the episode, we'll now rank the episode. First, we'll rank on the mostly objective ranking list, followed by the personal ranking list. And on our mostly objective ranking, we of course have our multi-arc main character growth, which is Ichigo overcoming his fear that he has built up. And then we have world building, which of course is the past Bount versus Quincy battle and the connection to eating live souls equaling big plans, that the Quincy are required for this plan and have been targeted in the past by the Bount. So basically, we're getting more history and more information. And then we have our character regression, which is -1 point, which of course is Ichigo developing this fear of the Bount and lack of confidence that he has, which ultimately leads to Ganju being called in, the duel, and him overcoming it. So 4 plus 4 minus 1 is 7, and therefore this is a 7 out of 10 episode. Which brings our mostly objective ranking to in first, Creeping Terror, the second victim. The moment of collision, an evil hand draws near to the Quincy, gathering at the place of fortune, the man who makes his move. New school term, Renji has come to the human world. Bount, the ones who hunt souls. True identity of the devil, the secret which is revealed. Death game, the missing classmate. Rukia's return, revival of the substitute team. Shocking revelations for the Gotai 13, The Truth Behind Buried History is this episode, and it is in 9th place so far, followed by Breakthrough, The Trap Hidden in the Labyrinth, Water Attack, Escape from the Shutdown Hospital, Unfading Grudge, the Shinigami who Kenpachi killed. Earth-shattering event at the 11th Division, the Shinigami who rises again. Memories of an eternally living clan, and then not this episode, but the episode in last place so far is Crashing Force Freed versus Zangetsu. My personal ranking for this episode, I did find it a little bit more entertaining than I have some of the last episodes that have come out, so that's a bonus. I feel like it's improving a little bit. Still ultimately pretty average episode. We got some comedy with Ganju and Hinataro, which I thought was the highlight of this episode. There was a little bit of comedy with Junta and our lion, which I can't remember the name of. Oh my goodness. Why can't I remember his name? Khan. It's Khan. Yes, okay. Um, and then we, of course, had basically another little bit of an information dump, and not all of it was new information. So that was a little bit more on the boring side. And then, of course, we have the setup for the next episode with Yoshino leaving. And it is heavily implied by Yorwichi outright stating it that she's probably going to die in the next episode, which I feel like was a spoiler. If I was like watching this for the first time, I'm like, great, you've spoiled what happens next. But ultimately, as I've said many times, this arc just doesn't speak to me, which sucks because it's the longest arc so far and we've still got quite a few episodes to go in it. But having said that, I gave this a 5 out of 10 because the comedy was a highlight and it did have a battle scene, which was intriguing. And some of the new information was interesting. So, first place, Gathering at the Place of Fortune, The Man Who Makes His Move. Bount, The Ones Who Hunt Souls. Creeping Terror, The Second Victim. New school term, Renji has come to the human world. True Identity of the Devil, The Secret Which is Revealed. Breakthrough, The Trap Hidden in the Labyrinths. Death Game, The Missing Classmate. 8th place, Water Attack, Escape from the Shutdown Hospital. Rukia's Return, Revival of the Substitute Team, and this episode comes in 10th place with Shocking Revelations for the Gotai 13, The Truth Buried in History, followed by Crashing Force Freed vs. Zangetsu, Unfading Grudge, The Shinigami Whom Kenpachi Killed, Earth-Shattering Event at the 11th Vision, The Shinigami Who Rises Again, The Moment of Collision, An Evil Hand Draws Near to the Quincy, and then in 15th, Memories of an Eternally Living Clan, which is the last episode so far. So that brings us now to our series ranking so far. Mostly objective and personal so far are aligned with Soul Society the Rescue arc in first, followed by Agent of the Shinigami arc and Soul Society the Sneak Entry arc in third. The Bount arc has 102 out of 280 on the mostly objective ranking and has 84 out of 280 on the personal ranking. But with that, we have now rewatched and ranked Bleach, The Bount arc, episode 78, Shocking Revelations for the Gotai 13, The Truth Buried in History. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.